Hey YouTube, it's your girl Chic from Chic Say What. I am back tonight. We're going to get into it tonight. I want to talk about the term swirling, divestment, being being pro-black. What does all of that look like? Can you swirl or divest, still call yourself pro-black? Are there different categories for those things? So I want to get into it tonight. It seems like it's been before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, share the live, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. But we're going to get into it, and I think it's going to become a pretty deep discussion because it's something that we got to touch on. I feel like it's such a big thing that each of the videos that I do at some point, I kind of touch on just relationship type things and the dynamics between Black men, Black women, the treatment of Black women, the value, even some of the videos I've talked about. It has pertained to interracial dating, in particular, those videos that I talked about, the pink pill, crystal, and kerosene. So it seemed like a lot of it, lately it's kind of been overlapping, but I wanted to come on tonight to just specifically just talk about the whole interracial dating and trying to get an understanding of the difference between the terms swirling and divestment. So I've been doing my research and I'm like, okay, is there a difference? What's the difference? What's something? How can we separate the two? Because I would imagine if I'm confused, you got some other people out there confused. I even heard someone say, yo, the men do divestment better than anybody. They out here divesting and don't even really realize it because it's not a terminology that they use. So I'm like, okay, now that's a whole word right there, because we know our Black men, like, listen, they good. Like, you don't even need to talk to them. Hey, bro, you need to try dating out. They already got that on lock. You don't even need this to sell that to them. Reg Rose, hey, welcome. Not really sure why Chrissie decided to involve herself in this drama. Usa. I think I don't think, listen, I think Chrissie, because she speaks a lot about dating out, I think people, just me listening to her, I was, part of my research, I was listening to her and I'm like, okay, what is our sis Chrissie thoughts around all this? Because her name is getting attached to things. And from her take, people automatically interject her into things, almost like any and everything pertaining to swirling or dating outside of your race, and divestors, swirlers, whatever their movement is or their plight or whatever they believe in, they automatically want to connect her to that and believe that, okay, she's a supporter of that. Where she's like, kind of like with anything, there's parts of things that you're going to take and then there's parts of things you're going to leave. So as she said, some swirlers, some content creators, they speak a language that, she's like, okay, I'm with you. But then sometimes, they may say something that she's not with. And the same as far as with the divestment community. In particular, I did hear a clip that another content creator had put out there saying that, and I listened to, it was Chrissie saying that she was done allowing for like people such as Crystal and Kerosene, and even our girl that was new to me, and many of you who listened to my video, Kendall St. Charles. She said she was done. She wasn't going to allow their names to be said on her platform anymore. She wasn't going to welcome them to come onto her platform anymore. She wasn't going to basically welcome just guests on her platform anymore. Like she was really in her feels. Why she took that, had that change of heart pertaining to, those women, I'm not quite sure just yet on that. And that's why, I was listening to her, and I didn't really hear anything just yet where she talked about either one of those two ladies specifically saying something or doing something to her that had her to kind of make that statement, because the YouTuber, the content creator that did have it out there, it was like a bite from one of her videos, but I'm not quite sure where it came from or she pulled it, because I was researching it, because I'm like, yo, like, okay, Chrissie, you got your whole little movement over there. Where is this coming from that now you're kind of parting yourself away from these ladies? So that's kind of what I started to kind of look into. And, I just started digging, and here we are today with this video. Reg Rose, Black men absolutely are divesting from Black women. Yeah, I think they just don't use the term, but it's what they're doing. So it's like, okay, so, Chrissie and Paris both are like, yo, sis, like, we've hung up our capes. They both admitted when they first entered YouTube, and it was far before I even knew who either one of the ladies were, because they both have a lot of subscribers. So, but Chrissie says, 5 years ago, I think, she's been around like 6 years ago, but like 5 years ago, she was like really she called herself, a super mammy. Like she was just really out there caping for the Black man. And she says what made her change her vibe, and how she wanted to move out here in these streets as far as who she was going to verbally like give her support to was the Black men on the internet. She was like, they just were just really coming for her head. And it's funny that she says that, because I've heard Cynthia Sinji say that, as far as that's what made her change her tone or her direction as far as on her channel with who she was kind of caping for, because she was like it was like her experience with Black men in particular on the internet. And somebody, actually, I was listening to Chrissie, and she was like, one of the, subscribers or, people in the chat was like, yo, Chrissie, good thing you don't show your face, because another content creator just did an interview with a white man and she started getting death threats. My first thought was Sinji, because I know she did do an interview with a whole white man. I listened to that interview, and I have heard her talk about, these death threats and all of that, but I don't think I personally don't feel like Sinji is moved by that, because she's been out here in these streets for many years and she's been getting threats. So it's kind of like she's used to saying those touchy things that have people come for her, and she just stands on it. It's just like, I said what I said, period. That's kind of the energy I get from her. Reg Rose, do you think it looks weird for Chrissie to not want to work with any of these women? Isn't it for Black women empowerment, or does she want an exclusive girls club? I don't really know. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of, what Chrissie's stance is, when it comes to Black people. Like Chrissie's thing is like, to me, Chrissie is more about like, not divest, what's the word? Hypergamy, being a hypergamist, dating. So that has no color on it to me. So her thing is, okay, it's, excuse me, it's about that money. Even back in the day when she was caping for the Black man, she was like, yo, that Black man she was giving her time to was still paying bills. Like she was still holding them accountable to a certain standard. Back then, and she was more so just kind of exclusive to like the Black man. Whereas fast forward today, she's like an open opportunist, like she's saying, which is what I kind of say out here, is just like, just be open. And so her thing is more so like, listen, I'm open for whoever, but you need to have that money. You need to have that bag. Like when you're stepping to me, these are requirements that I need. So whether you blue, Black, green, purple, as long as you meet this checkoff list, we're good. So that's Chrissie. that's not the language of, let's just say, crystalline. Crystalline is like you just never even hear her talk about, at least I have never heard her talk about, well, if the black man got this, that, and the third. Like, she's, to me, I feel like, yo, listen, just go ahead and leave the black man alone and just come on over here with me, ladies, because life is good over here. Come over here. So that's different for what I just said about Chrissie. Kendall in St. Charles, remember, that's someone I just recently discovered. So I researched her, and what I picked up off of her, just from my research, was more in line with her being more in line, I guess, with Crystalline, where been there, done that. I've cut my losses with the Black community. There's another YouTuber I listen to, Leandria TV. She's that way, where she's like, I can't do it anymore. She's a whole single mom over there. And so one argument that Chrissie did have when I was listening to her is a lot of like, and I take it to the ones that's coming for her, like swirlers or divestors. They want to kind of come for her about, her past dealings with Black men or whatever. But she was like, okay, but at least I didn't produce a child out there. Like, yes, I had me a Black man, but at least he was still paying bills and he didn't make me a Black mama. So don't try to think that what you doing is better than what I used to do. Like, so things like that, because so those last content creators I just named, like it seemed like they're just like, yo, just forget, move on. Just move on from the Black man. Just like Leandra TV's like, yo, don't take it beyond even a Black man and just move on from anything Black, where as far as with business, anything supported of Black, she's just like, listen, y'all ladies, cut your losses, go on over here to these Caucasian neighborhoods or these neighborhoods that don't have the Black people, just leave the whole community behind. So she took hers a whole step further. Let me get to the comment. Let me see. Reg Rose, I am missing Real Housewives of New York City for this conversations. I'm here for it's, Housewives be on that mess. Like this right here, like this is that real deal stuff that we talking about, because this stuff that we gonna talk about, or that I've probably even said, we done already seen this stuff play out in those housewives. We know this. The divestment is real. You see them Black women, all of them are on that. First of all, they wouldn't even be on that show if they were not about being about divesting. Let's talk about that. Then the whole interracial thing. So this conversation will just help you better understand that foolishness you're gonna watch on the next episode on when we do that playback, Reg Rose. So I thank you for being here with us. Hey, Kevin Sales, where is the link? Which link are you talking about? Which one? Because I'm talking about like a few things, like, I've just been researching all over the place. So in particular to what, but so I just feel like Chrissie's not purposefully interjecting really herself in it. Like her thing is like she said recently, it was a Black couple. It was a woman that got engaged to a Black man. And she said some positive comments like, yo, like, that's what's up. Great. Congratulations. And it was like a Black man like, yo, I thought you don't support this, Black man and this and that. And she like, hold up, bro. I never just said F the Black man. I'm all about the quality of the Black man. So if I'm seeing a Black man doing what he's supposed to do, with his Black woman, yes, I'm going to support that. So I'm not lumping them all together. So then that's kind of where her thing is. It's like people are getting it twisted. Like they just because I take a stance and I'm going to call a Black man out on his stuff, don't mean that I'm like saying the hell with the Black man and I don't want no parts of him like all together. It's like layers to it. So from that standpoint, I feel her on that. I'm married. I've been married for a real long time, but I talk with a lot of women who aren't, because most women who I encounter are, let's just talk about, they are not married, because only 29% of our people are married in our community. I got some stats that I pulled that I'm going to share with you guys in a little bit so you guys can just see, as we're talking about this whole interracial dating, the percentages, that we're dating. But my thing is love who loves you, regardless of what that person may look like. So also, still talking about Chrissie, one of the people listening was like, yo, I'm 17. I brought home a white boy to introduce to my grandma. Like, grandma, I'm dating him. Grandma was like, I'm so proud of you because the black boys don't know how, they don't treat you dark-skinned girls very well. They disrespect. Marinate on that comment. Kevin, as a man, what can you add to that as far as just men and the whole colorism even layer to it? Do you see, or, with your boys, your folks in your family, is that a real thing? Or are we just tripping when us ladies say that men a lot of times are colorists? Am I tripping? Are we tripping when we see, say, these celebrity men, these high profile men with fair skinned women? If they are black women, they're fair skinned or they're racially ambiguous. That's just if they have black in them, because you really know when that money is right when they done left the whole community and it ain't even you like, I don't even want light skin no more. We going straight to Belize, we going to Cuba. Like, are we tripping when we see that? Or is that a real thing? Is that a real thing? Somebody, who was that they got on? He had the baby. Was it the baby? I think had a whole bunch of light skin, racially ambiguous, like women. They either weren't black, or if they were black, they were light skinned in their music video. And people took note of that and they called him on that. And he started, cherry picking, saying, okay, well, I had this dark skinned girl in there and this one right here. So sure enough, there was like a couple sprinkled in there. But you know how that goes when you got the camera spanning. Those weren't the girls that was really getting that camera time. Like, from what I can recall looking at that video, like over 90% of the chicks in the video were like either light skinned or racially ambiguous, just not even black at all. It was just evident, and people called him on there. So it's like, us ladies, are we tripping when we make comments like that? I mean, because it's far too prevalent. It's so obvious now. It's just like, okay, y'all not gonna make us black women feel like we crazy. I know what I see, and this is what I'm speaking on, y'all. Red Rose, grandma sees what it is. Yeah, listen. Yes, grandma sees it. Grandma being around, hey, let me talk to you. Let me throw this out there. Have y'all seen, just in y'all family, like, or even in other people's family, where back in the day, grandpa was dark skinned? Or so this is going to be, so within this age group, so let's just say me 40. So I'm talking about great grandma, great grandpa, or great great grandma, great great grandpa. Have you guys seen where the grandfather was very dark and his lady was very light? I know that's in my family. So when I meet other, I've come across other black people, and I see pictures, of their great parents. Like, I see that where the man was like a very dark complexion, and the wife, which became grandma, was very fair skinned. So yes, grandma knows, she been seeing this. Like, we hear the low key shade that's thrown at our chocolate women. Like, stop. Like, we can't not just want to sugarcoat it because it don't sound right. Tonight, I ain't on here to be talking about what sounds right. It's about what's popping off out here. Like, what's the real deal? Like, what's really going on? Because it's a real thing. And Chrissie, as we see, she don't show her face. Some people think she's a fat woman. She's unattractive, which is why she don't show her face. She says, of course, she's quite the contrary. She's natural hair. She has a nice body. She's in the gym. But I think, just from what I hear from people who have made comments, they presume that, okay, she fits this description that would she does admit being dark skinned, but just because she chooses to not show what she looks like, people want to go along the narrative, oh, well, she must not be attractive, or yeah, she must be 400 pounds because she's hiding. And why she hides, I mean, I don't know. I mean, she chooses, I think she's, she just wants to protect herself. My thing is, I think that when people can actually see what you look like or see some type of image of you, I think it tends to go further with the weight of what you say. For example, someone like me, I talk about, I talk to the ladies, hey, this is what I look like. I'm married. I got these kids. I'm fit. This is what, like, if people can see, like, okay, well, I'm seeing her. I can see that, she is a Black woman. I can see, she's a small frame. Like, it's going to line up with my message. So you do have some people to where they're looking at things like that. Now, on the flip side, because they can see me or see other people, what they look like, you'll have the criticism, but at least if they are able to see you, those things that you speak on that pertain to your physical, you can stand on it because it's like, here, you can see me, so there's no lies as far as me telling you what my image look like. I'm not some hidden woman who's 300 pounds out here telling you to get yourselves together, put your best foot forward. You're seeing, okay, I'm walking the walk, talking, what I'm preaching is what I'm presenting. That's my thing. I'm saying, ladies, put your best foot forward, do this and that. At least you're seeing it from my image, my picture, like, okay, she looks like a together woman versus something completely different than what she's pushing. So I think someone like Chrissie get a lot of heat because she's hidden behind something. So it's just like, you say this, that, and the third of how you living, but you don't show no receipts. We don't know what you look like. We don't like, so, but she has, she's almost at 200K subscribers. So you got a lot of people, which primarily I'm sure are women, who are rocking with her regardless of any of that. But, those, you're going to have those people who are like, I ain't really trying to put no weight in what you're talking about because I don't even know what you look like, sis. So I think she gets a lot of that negative energy just because of that part too. Reg Rose, Chrissie hides her face for protection. I understand that, and don't blame her either. These men online are weird and scary, especially for women. I agree. I think, excuse me, that protection thing, that is important. But at the same time, as I talk about, when you're putting out a message and it's something pertaining to the physical, because a lot of times Chrissie's message is something pertaining to the physical, femininity, this, that, and the third. But there is no receipts to back that is what she's coming with. That's the part I'm saying. So I'm not mad at her. I respect her if that's where her comfort is. But I'm just I'm presenting that other view that I've heard people have. Like, I've heard people just throw out a comment, I ain't trying to follow nobody I can't see. Like, you'll hear people say that. So I think that some of the criticism do come from the fact that they don't see her. Kind of like the lady from from All About the Tea, when what was her name? Monica. That was a big thing, when it came to, okay, what does she look like? It became a thing. Is she even Black? Is she a white woman? Like, it just raised all these questions or whatever. So my thing is, I have old videos where I was just live in the flesh doing my thing. They were pre-recorded. Fast forward to today. I jump on, do these lives. You see my picture, but that is me. But you can see, videos of me in the flesh. So I feel like, I've personally made the decision to move in this manner because I just want to show people that this message that I'm pushing, whether it's about Black people, about our weight, about femininity, about us putting the best version of ourselves, I want to be a walking example of that. So I want you guys to see what I look like, because I feel like if you can see at least what I look like, it'll make me that much more kind of real to you, if that makes any sense. Reg Rose, that O'Shea Jackson guy is always putting Crystalline and Cynthia's face out in his videos. Like, he's a grown man doing this on YouTube. Grow up. You got a lot of people out here that do what they do for antics like that. They just, a lot of this is for clicks and views. It's money. So people, not everybody. O'Shea Du Jackson is someone that I do follow. He has he said he's Pan-African. I've had, I hear him often speak favorable just for the Black community, period. He talks about he's not really interested in dating really outside of, the Black woman, things like that. So I have my reason for like why I do support him. But like, as with anyone and anything, like, there are some things about people that you can leave. And then there's some people you're like, okay, I can rock with that. So it's almost like you have to just look at the person in its totality. Okay, is there more things that you see that, okay, I rock with more so what they say versus what they don't? And that's kind of how I view O'Shea. 85% of the things he say, I'm like, okay, I'm with you, brother. Yes, I'm a woman, but I can acknowledge that part right there. You right. We do be on some bull on that part right there. But I have heard him on multiple occasions in videos where he'll call brothers on their stuff too. So that's what I do respect about him. And that's why still, I am a subscriber to him today. But at the end of the day, Reg Rose, for most youths, most content creators, and it's about the clicks and the views, which equates the money. Point blank, period. Just like, Hollywood. That's just, it's no different. It's just another stream of income. So, when we see the antics out here on the internet, we have to kind of take that into an account as well. Like Chrissie was saying, when she jumped out here, like she first started talking about colorism and things like that on Facebook. So then she said she was looking for something or want to find something pertaining to like Black women, the face of Black women. It was just like one thing that came up, and it was like by a man. So she's like, okay, let me just, create my own thing. And then eventually, she started her YouTube channel. She said she would have never thought that her platform would have grown to almost 200,000 subscribers with just talking about like colorism. Colorism is a real thing. Like, we know it's real. And it's just irritating when people try to act like it's not a thing. Like, my thing is, even if you do fall on the fair skin side, like, I don't feel like you can, I feel like, you can be two things as one, two things can be true at once. You can be someone who fall on the fair skin side, but you can also acknowledge that colorism exists. Like, just because you fall on that side doesn't mean that you have to be blind to the idea that colorism is a thing. Just like I know pretty privilege is a thing. Like, I fall from my life experiences on that pretty privileged side where I've gotten privileges because of just my physical. I ain't in denial about that. So yes, I acknowledge, yep, that is a thing. I've actually witnessed it on on many occasions. It's a whole thing out there. So I'm not going to be walking around benefiting from it, and then somebody throw out, oh, well, pretty privilege. And I'm like, that ain't nothing. Just because I don't want to feel like, okay, I'm being singled out because of maybe a discriminatory reason. I don't know. But no, I know it's a thing. Like, I ain't crazy. I know it's a thing. It is what it is. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want to share this website that I came across pertaining to, like, the numbers when it comes to like the interracial marriages stats. And it's kind of like, it's some current data for us to kind of look at. So let's look at this. Make sure you guys can see my screen. Okay. So here we go. Let's get into it. 24 groundbreaking interracial marriage statistics for 2021. At some point in history, interracial marriages were prohibited by both religious institutions and states worldwide. These couples have long faced discrimination, ostracizing, even prison and death because of their love. Today in 2021, we are far from these times. Although there is more work to be done since interracial couples still encounter prejudice on various accounts all over the world. We hope that these interracial marriage statistics will answer the questions you may have about number, length, social aspects tied to them. So let's get into these talking points. Top interracial marriage statistics for 2021. Bullet point 1. Interracial marriage became legal in America in 1967. So just even think about that part, y'all. Think about when they've talked about when the Black women started being married in high numbers, when that percentage of Black women being married went down. From what I can recall, that happened at about 1960, 65, which was around that civil rights movement. So when interracial marriages became, was able to be legalized, men start exercising that right. They like, yo, that time has come. I am out. And we started seeing the interracial marriage numbers go up. In the last I've checked, more Black men date interracial than like any other like cultural group. But that number started going up. It was like, yo, when that law passed, listen, folks, men start two-stepping. They like, yo, I'm about to get Becky. I've been looking at her since 1945. So they were like, yes, bet. So Black men, they continue to get married or whatever, but it just wasn't with Brenda over there. They go over there with Mary. That part. So let's move on. 18% of African Americans marry someone of a different ethnicity or race, according to the interracial relationships statistics. Of this 18%, who y'all thinking holding down most of that 18%? Keisha or Antoine? Like, think about it. Like, who's holding down that 18%? We're going to move on. 26% of Hispanic newlywed men have a spouse of a different ethnicity or race. Okay. Interracial couples statistics reveal that Honolulu, Hawaii has the highest rate of interracial marriages in America, 42%. 20% of African American Caucasian couples divorce, compared with 13.5% of Hispanic and Caucasian couples. So I've heard this before, guys, that people who interracial marriages aren't as successful as like your non-interracial marriages. Or here's another one I've heard. Black women married to white men. So Black women and white men in interracial relationships have a higher success rate than Black men and white women. That's what I've heard. I hadn't researched that part, but I've heard that. So that's something for you guys to think about, maybe even kind of look into. Let's see, next bullet point. The U.S. interracial marriage statistics show that 10% of the population, 11 million people, are currently in mixed race unions. I mean, how many of us just, as we just moving through our life, you're just seeing interracial relationships? Like, it's such, like, I was out. This might even be a whole nother video. CNG did a video recently and she was talking to a man and he was trying to explain why they date obese white women. But I just chuckled because I literally was legit out to dinner with my family over the weekend. And I seen this table. It was like a booth. They all were squeezed up in there. 2 Black men. Very attractive, attractive Black men, I'd say, both of them, with obese white women. Like, I was just like, I mean, I get it's one thing. I think what made it stand out to me was the fact that it was like they was on a double date situation to where it was like both of them had them an overweight Becky. And it was just like, really? Like, sometimes you might see, Keith walking with, Becky and she obese, and that's just them together. But it just stood out to me that they were like together at a table in this tight booth, squeezed up in there, and both of the women were obese. And the two black men were more of like your fit frame, they were just regular build men. But the white women that they were with were obese white women. Those white women that you hear a lot of the black women talk about, like, dang, bro, like if you got to go get you a white woman, why she got to look like that? You mean you couldn't find no sister that wasn't looking good? So where you was like, you had to resort to that? That was the vibe that I got. I just listened, grabbed my little family and moved on. But that's that stuff. 22% of Americans believe that multiracial kids are good for society. That's an interesting point, but given that we're seeing a lot of people who are interracial dating, I'm seeing these black men with these Hispanic women. I mostly see the black man with either a white woman or a Hispanic woman. That's what I see. So then I'm seeing a lot of the mixed kids, running around. I was listening to Sinji today on that same, video, and it was a guy just trying to explain. He was like, yo, I mean, black women, they cool. I think they pretty. I just don't date them. I prefer the white woman or the Hispanic woman. She's like, well, why? Well, I mean, I like Maria, I like her skin tone. Okay. Well, and then one even use the example with Maria, we was driving. I got pulled over, y'all. I was wasted. I should have been going to jail. I know I was doing the most. Maria spoke her language to that officer. Next thing you know, they let us go. He was like, I got out of that situation. I don't know what she said because she was speaking her Spanish language, but she got me out that situation. So I said, you know what? I need her in my life. Y'all, I can't make this stuff up. He literally said, I don't know what she said, but she said something and they let me go on about my business. So she's showing that, she got her purpose, in my life. And so since like, okay, well, you've talked about you like her skin tone. You've talked about the advantages of being with, because basically a Hispanic woman, that's a white woman. They move in this world like they're white. What is it else that you like about the non-black woman that has you over there? Because those are the things you talked about. Well, they just moving with me. And, she was like, how do they help you? Well, they don't really help, but, they there as they just there as I'm moving and stuff. So she asked him like 5-6 times. He finally got frustrated and just left alive, but he could not speak to why the non-black woman was so important or superior. And she told him, bro, the things you talked about is her skin color. You said you have a son with her, and y'all, you like how your son looks. So basically you talked about how the physical and the benefits of just what comes with, the privilege, the white privilege. But he didn't want to say yes to those things to acknowledge that that's why he dates outside of his race. She pointed out, like, basically, you don't like being black. You want the erasure. Well, I was with a black woman before, but yeah, we was engaged, but yeah, we just didn't get married because I ended up changing my mind. Right, bro? Because you decided you didn't want to make a life with her. He didn't even have children with her. Now he talking about, yeah, Maria, who he got the baby with, she giving him a hard time. He all up in the court system and everything because she don't want him to see his child. But remember, he didn't want to have no child with Keisha or wife her up, who he could have still been able to be a part of his side, little Dre's life. But he got with Maria, and Maria got, like, nah, I don't want you. I don't want you a part of our son's life. But yeah, I mean, you right. I did take an L with that one, but that's just a one-off. That was just a one situation. You know, the other incidents that I dated out, you know, they was better than that. Boy, if you don't stop, let me finish getting through these bullet points, y'all. 56% of survey participants aged 18 to 29 believe that TV shows should feature more. Okay, screen. Okay, 50. Hold on, y'all. Something's popping up on my screen. Okay, 50% of survey participants aged 18 to 29 believe that TV shows should feature more interracial couples. You guys, do you ever think or wonder if the direction of this society is to have, I've said it before, I think on previous videos, where I feel like, I think I talked about on that one about Lil Nas X, his video, but I said that I felt like they were trying to move the powers that be was trying to move us into a sexless or a genderless, let me take that back, genderless society, where we live in a society where it's not a focal point or male female. Like, do you all ever feel like sometimes like that's also a direction they're trying to take us to, where it's more of a mixed race society versus a society where it's siloed with the different cultural groups? Here's something for you to think about too. I've heard before that based off of how Black people have been procreating, because Black women, when it comes to giving birth and our fertility, it's far better than the white woman. The white woman has more miscarriages. So based off of that, we were projecting to basically one day outnumber just the Caucasian culture, their whole group. So that's what I heard, that the whole, where they started to incorporate these laws dealing with abortions, because really it was to slow down the number of abortions that women was having, but they couldn't put these laws in place to be just on the white women. It had to impact everybody. But basically, white women, they're having abortions too, just like any other group. But if your numbers are dwindling, it's like they can't afford to be having those abortions like that. Plus, with them having higher fertility issues than, let's just say, the Black cultural group, the Black woman. So if you start emerging and mixing that DNA, that's going to preserve that life, that white culture. Because think about it. Do you guys feel that when you see mixed kids, especially if the mama is white, what type of ideology are they taking on? Are they more so being raised with the Black influence or the white influence? I've once heard someone say that a mixed child takes on the ideology of the mother. So if the mother is white, that child is going to take on that ideology of that white mother. If the mother is Black, the child would take on the ideology of the Black mother. Marinate on that. Think about that. Think about just people that are of mixed race, and particularly Black and white, or say if they are Hispanic and Black, whatever. Think about what ethnic group that, what race that mom is. And then think about the children and how they're moving in life. What do you see? Do you see any truth to that with what I threw out to you guys? But that's something that someone said to me. And just based off of my observations in the world, I'm like, I can see that. Last bullet point: interracial marriage statistics and census show that 49% of Democrats believe that interracial marriage is beneficial for society. So that's interesting. 49% of Democrats, most Democrats, are Black people. Most Black people are Democrats. So I wonder, do Black people feel like it benefits society? Because it's almost like, okay, let's just say President Barack Obama being mixed race, he's been able to benefit from the advantages or the things that normally white people benefit from. So do you think maybe Black people are, collectively, because when I'm seeing this number, 49% of Democrats, I'm thinking Black folks, because, y'all know we hold that Democrat Party I just say we as a cultural group hold that Democrat Party down, whether we should or not. That's just what we doing out here. The numbers show it. Do you think that maybe the Democrats are thinking this is because they're like, well, if the straight black man or black woman can't get that win or that advantage, if the mixed child can get it, then we're good with that. That'll get us in the door. Like, even though Barack was a mixed man raised by a whole white family, white mama, to us, that's a black man, he represented. Is it enough for us? Because to me, when you start talking about interracial marriage, mixed race, all that stuff, to me, I start thinking colorism. Because more often than not, we see that when you see mixed race kids, in particular, a mixture of black and white, it results in more of a fair skinned child. You will sometimes see a child that will have more melanin in it. Like, I've seen a couple, just at my children's sporting activities. Black woman, darker complexion, black woman, white man, the son, fair skin, very fair skin, kinky hair. The daughter, melanin, she has a brown skin tone that took more after her black side, but very loose, almost stringy type hair with a slight wave. Same parents. So I found it interesting that you have the light skinned baby, the boy, he's the bigger brother with the kinky hair, but the baby girl got more of that black, that melanin in her, but she got the Caucasian hair. But remember, she got the darker skin. You ain't see it where the son who's light skinned had that loose, straight hair. It's like he didn't get all that white DNA in him, just like she didn't get all that black DNA in him. It was that mixture. But that's what you see, that can play out when you have mixed race kids. And that's why sometimes we see, or we've heard comments where some people in the industry or women may make coloristic comments, but though we see they have dark complexion children. Who is that? Is that Lance Gross, who he's with a fair skinned woman, but they have not all their kids look like that racially ambiguous look. Like, one of the kids look like more black and then one don't. But I remember that being a talking piece, or even Neo with him and his wife, where the wife had made a comment about the child not having her good hair or something like that. And that was a big thing. So here's the thing, when we mix race, it's no guarantee. We don't know what that DNA, how it's going to come together, whether that child is going to come out and it's going to take on that light skin, that light complexion, and that Becky with the good hair. It can take on that light complexion. I just described a baby, y'all, that I see regularly. He took on that light complexion, but he ain't got that quote unquote good hair. So it's no guarantee. But sometimes I feel like when these people intentionally mix race, they're looking for that perfect recipe. I want that light complexion and I want that silky hair. And it don't always pan out like that. It just doesn't. Let me skip back to these comments and see what y'all saying. I had to look. I was just looking at that article going in, just giving y'all something to talk, some things to kind of think about. Brittany. Hey, Chic. Hey, Brittany. Welcome. Reg Rose. I live in Harlem. And I see more black men with non-black women. It is seriously an epidemic. Yes, that is a good word for it. I see it where I live, all throughout my community. Like I said, these black men got these white women over here living good, like in these nice houses. I see it. I see it. And they ain't looking all fit and fine. Like I said, they looking like them women I seen at the restaurant squeezed up in the doggone, what you call it, the booth. They looking just like that while I'm walking and get my exercise in as a fit black woman. These obese white women just looking at me from their driveway. No lie. Reg Rose, the white race cannot live without interracial marriage. They need to mix and procreate with our cultures and pass down their white ideology to continue to make whiter looking people. Yes, because have you guys ever heard, like, it's almost like we're mating out, like eventually over time it'll mate out like the black out of us. So it's like they use us from what's been talked about, what people believe is that, okay, let's use this black race to continue on our cultural group. And as time, like, here's another thing. Here's another stat you guys need to look at. Statistically, from the last I've known, like mixed race people, they're more likely to choose another life partner that's more on the white side, not the black side. So say if you have a child that's black and white, and let's think about all these, what Patrick Mahomes, is that like the quarterback from was he on the Chiefs or something? Like think about it, like these people, these kids, they're adults now, they're mixed race. Think about the ball families, you know, those basketball players, those fair-skinned guys that play basketball, like they got these white mamas. What color are these women that they're choosing to be in relationships with? So these mixed race kids, you guys see what I'm talking about, how eventually that blackness is going to fade, weed its way out throughout generations, because these mixed kids are getting with someone of the other group when they get their partner. So then it lowers the percentage of black. So say if that child started out with 50% white, 50% black, and that half-breed child get with a white woman and have a baby, isn't that baby going to have more white than black? And say that child gets with another white person. You see what I say, when it's eventually breeding the blackness out of the family, yet it's still preserving and keeping that whiteness going. That's a real thing. Listen. Reg Rose, the amount of white people in America is shrinking. It's only 57% of white people in America now. 10 years ago, they made up over 60%. Like, if they have to strategically hook up, like I've heard I was listening, like some say, well, I want to have a baby, white women. I don't know if it was a TikTok video that somebody had showed, but she said she wanted a black man because she said they make, she wanted a pretty baby. They make pretty babies. I've heard them say, listen, I want me a black man because I want my baby to have some skin color. I don't want my baby to be pale. I want my baby to have that, that natural tan, that melanin I think that lady said she wanted her baby to have black in her because she would be born with natural sunscreen. Because, white people, they got to slap that sunscreen on it. They going to burn and be hurting, peeling and everything. So she was like, I want my baby to be born with a natural sunscreen. Yes, that woman said that. Whew. Reg Rose, Lance Gross is in denial that he chosen his woman due to colors values. A lot of them do it. He ain't. Listen, it's a lot of them. Like I said, that man that was talking with Sanjay, he got upset when Sin pointed out, sir, the only things you talked about were like superficial type, like you didn't talk about nothing with no substance. Well, you know what? That's not what I came on here for. Bro, what you come on here for? I'm sorry, sir. Why are you here? Why did you come on here? Okay. Listen, it was so funny. People started putting them running emojis inside of the chat. Them track star running. They was like, he's a runner. We got a track star. It was so funny. Y'all, when I say he got ghost. Morris Chester, guess who's mad? Hey, Morris, welcome. Reg Rose, Meghan Markle, Michael Ealy, Trevor Noah, the Rock, all mixed people who married white. Meghan is the only one out of them with the most power, though. Yep. But Meghan, she's part black, she's part white. She had a baby with a white man. So most of us have seen the baby. So it goes along the line when I say that black blood. What's the chance? What are the chances of you guys thinking her son marrying a black woman? You think he'll marry a black woman, a woman that looked like his grandmama on his mama's side? Or you think he's gonna marry a woman that looked like his daddy mama? Like, that's a real thing. Like, it's weeds out. Like, so as we're seeing, so that's why I'm wondering if it's just a bigger agenda here to and if you guys go ahead, if you have, like, share, subscribe while you're here, hit the bell. Thank you for joining. Thank you again for my new subscribers. I just want to keep the conversation going, get the message out there, because this is things we need to talk about. It's a real deal in our community. It is what it is, and I'm not here hating on nothing. I'm just here presenting the information, because we can't see all of this and just act like it's not a thing because okay, the conversation isn't favorable. Okay, well, and I mean, listen, it is what it is. My thing is, if you're gonna be with you a Becky, stand by yours. If you're gonna be with a Brad, stand by yours. Period. Own it. Like, love who love you. That's my thing. My thing is also, you can't choose to be with somebody and say they are of another cultural group and also still be in your feelings that your people from your culture ain't loving the person you chose to love. Do you guys, what's the guy's name from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the other Will, the son, whatever his name. He recently was out because he was in his fields because people aren't all that accepting of his white wife. And it's just like, bro, we ain't gotta accept your white wife. You gotta accept your white wife. Like, just because you choose, what's his name? Carlton. I don't know if that's his real name. Listen, y'all know we be calling him Carlton. But y'all remember, like, he was like recently talking, like, he was like, Black people aren't accepting of his wife. And like, that's your wife. Like, I hadn't even heard nobody talking about him, like, up until he came out saying somebody ain't liking his wife. Like, bro, did you literally come from out your basement to come on the scene to say something like that, to get your name out there? Because I ain't seen you in no movie, no show, no music video. So, sir, why are you here talking? We ain't even been thinking about you. Go sit down. Reg Rose. So do you think Megan's baby is white baby or a Black baby or mixed? That's another thing. I grew up hearing, and I had to kind of, y'all can help me with this. I grew up hearing, if you got Black in you, an ounce, like, you Black. But then I then learned, I think it was an episode of The View back when Eve was still on there. And like, who else? That lady, Sharon Osmond, like, and the conversation came up about Megan, and they argued it with saying she's mixed race, like it's a whole nother category. So Chrissie puts mixed race in another category. So I took the question to my family, like, yo, like, is Megan Black or is she mixed? Is she mixed race? Like, because again, had you guys ever heard of, wasn't that a rule? An ounce, that one drop Black rule? Like, if you got Black in you, you Black. Like, am I the only one who grew up hearing that? Was that something that at some point ended and I just didn't know? So now it's like this category of mixed race. So now I put Megan in this whole new category of mixed race, because I've been hearing Black mixed people saying they're not even considering themselves Black. They consider themselves mixed race. I want to say The Rock, the actor, he considers himself mixed race. It's like a lot of them don't call themselves Black. They say, I'm mixed race. They separate themselves from being Black. So it's like, okay, so now I'm on this, okay, well, these mixed people, they're mixed race. They're not in the Black category, especially if you stepping up saying, yo, I'm mixed race. Tiger Woods even did that. Tiger Woods, it wasn't out talking about he Black. He had his whole spiel of whatever he classified himself it was, but it wasn't Black. So I would say Megan baby is mixed race. And eventually that it's going to be, as he continue to build his family and kids are had, it's going to be white. Reg Rose, Alfonso Ribeiro is something. Is he going on interviews also whining about how white men don't accept them? No, I ain't heard that part. I ain't heard that part. I was just confused because it's like, bro, I ain't seen you in Lord knows how long. And this is what we're talking about. You came out the woods and this is what you're talking about. Like, Listen, we don't have to love her. You gotta love her. I ain't gotta love her. Just like y'all and somebody ain't gotta love who I'm loving over here. Like, stop it. Reg Rose, the one drop rule is just outdated, chic. These mixed race biracial people like hop the fence when it comes to claiming blackness, but they never try to pressure whites to accept them as white. Listen, let's talk about just Kamala Harris. Like, what do y'all consider her? Is she black? I don't consider her black. I feel like Kamala is black when it serves her purpose. So when she was trying to get the vote, she is threw on what she was throwing on Chuck Taylor's. She was going on the Breakfast Club. She was trying to speak the black lingo. She went to Howard, talking before the black students. But when I seen her do an interview with this one Indian actress, all she talked about was her Indian culture and what she grew up in, because she was raised by her mama. Remember, I told y'all they said that it goes off of the mixed child ideology is going to go follow with the mom. Kamala was raised with her mom, not with her dad. So when she did this special with this Indian actress, I don't know what her name is because I never followed anything that she was on, but I did recognize her face from television. But you guys remember, it was like this little cooking special where she was in the kitchen with this actress and they both were just talking about their Indian culture. Kamala, everything she talked about was pertaining to the Indian culture. So I'm sorry. Okay, so is that what you were uprooted in? What about, okay, you slapping on Chuck Taylor's, you going to Howard talking about black this, you going on Breakfast Club talking about smoking marijuana. And then, listen, y'all don't get me started. Like, what is it? Like, I felt like she's black when it's convenient. After she got the vote, then do y'all feel like she's moving out here in these streets, political streets, as a black woman? Okay, listen. Kamala is mixed to me, period. She's mixed. She's in that third category that they created. Reg Rose, she was gimmicking her blackness, very performative. She was an AKA though. So a lot of black women claim her just for her involvement in that sorority. Yeah. Just as black people was claiming Barack, like our first black president. Like we were voting for him because, he had black in him. And so, he was representing us. Now it's argued, people argue the fact of, okay, was he really moving for black people while he was running our country? Was there anything implemented for black people while he was running our country? Who collectively benefited while he was running our country? Was it black people or was it white people? The last stats that I heard, more white people got rich while he was still running our country. Their wealth went up. That was some whole other stats. Like the white man's wealth went up during those 8 years that he was in there. Our wealth didn't go up. I can't think of no win we got during that time. If y'all got something that y'all can drop that you can throw out that I might have missed because I was taking a nap, y'all can go ahead and drop them in the comments. But I can't think of no win that we as black people had while this quote unquote black man was running our country for 8 years. Like I said, put them in the comments. Let me know. Let the people know. Reg Rose, Barack Obama is a black man to me simply for marrying a black woman, a dark-skinned one at that. He know he black. So it's twofold. Do you judge a black man being black because he's married to a black woman, or do you judge his blackness based off of how he's moving just within these streets as far as the moves he's making? Are the moves that he's making favorable moves for the black cultural group or the white cultural group? There's layers to it. What are we, just because somebody, hell, de Blasio got a black, so what's your thought? De Blasio is he the mayor of New York? His wife black. I don't know if you guys knew that, but his wife is black. So what's your thoughts on him? You feel like, okay, so he got a black wife. So do you feel like, oh, he's for the cause because his wife black? Man, he the one over there requiring, the vaccines and stuff. And the last I knew, our Black people were the group that in the highest numbers that were unvaccinated. But he's implementing these things to require it. But like I said, his wife is Black. You can go look that up. He got mixed kids and everything. No, I judge a Black man harsher because men control marriage, not women. He has control over who he's married. Yeah, men do the proposing. Men propose to women. So yes, men have with our marriage stats being low at 29%, that's men driving that. Most women, when you talk to, at least the women I talk to, they desire to be married. They desire to marry. And I don't know a lot of women who've said, okay, they got proposed to and they said no. Or you hear, I run across women who get proposed to and it just be like this long engagement. Remember Jennifer Hudson? I had never seen no engagement that long. I think she was engaged to that man for like 8 years. Why y'all think she was engaged for that long? I guess it worked out given that their relationship didn't work and she didn't have to go through a nasty divorce or whatever. But I think they were engaged for like 8 years. Where they do that at? What white man have we ever heard talk about on a platform that he had an engagement for 8 years, or even a white woman, period, just moving, talking about, yeah, I've been engaged for 8 years. Like, what the heck? What is that? Like, what other cultural group do we hear talk about being engaged for like 5, 8 years, 10 years? Like, they either just ain't married or, they get married, but you're not hearing them talk about these super long engagements. Like, what is that about? Help me understand. Like, what is this? Do it take 8 years to figure out of whether or not if this is the person that you want to marry? Like, I would think that before the acceptance of the engagement, you work through that part. My thoughts is before you accept the engagement, you kind of work through that part. Like, okay, is this somebody I want to be with? So my thing is when you're making your decision to say yay or nay, you've already concluded, yeah, this is who I want to be with. So what is the purpose of your 8, 10 year, 15-year engagement? Like, you hear about this type of stuff in our community. I don't hear about this in any other communities. Again, if any of you hear about it in any other communities, please drop it in the comments. Reg Rose, Jennifer's ex gives me DL closeted homosexual vibes. The man was a wrestler and very metrosexual. He was on that reality show, I Love New York. I remember him on there. He was Punk. That was his name. Punk. That was his little reality TV name. Who knows what her reasons were, if she was behind, I don't want to get married. I don't know. I mean, given she was the one that had all the money and the celebrity, I don't see why he wouldn't have married her. So, okay, well, Jennifer, why do we think maybe she didn't want to actually, fully commit? Was it because she had some concerns in, some of these areas? I don't know, but I guess it worked out in the end for her, given that, it ended up being a pretty bad breakup. I want to say it seemed like at one point, I think he ended up getting the custody of the son. I just know it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But they didn't have any assets and all of that stuff to kind of separate. So that was the good part for her. But do you guys feel like, oh, okay, for the sake of a relationship possibly not working, then women shouldn't get married? Like, would you rather just use Jennifer Hudson's example as okay, well, now maybe we shouldn't get married because what if it don't work out? At least you can kind of have your clean break versus, you marrying them and now you're having to pay out, all this money, pay them alimony. Like, which one do you feel like, is worth taking a chance on? Getting married, taking a chance on that and it working out and possibly having to buy the other person out, split assets? Or do you think it's worth, throw marriage in the trash? Let's just cohabitate together. Let's just shack and just get it how we live. I mean, who lives like that? Kourtney Kardashian. I mean, she ain't Black, but Kourtney got all them kids by that white man, and she don't have different baby daddies, but she didn't marry that man. She just gave him babies and was like, and from what I recall, she wasn't interested in marriage. So you got people who just not interested in marriage. But I just think that when you choose to bring children into the equation, that whole I'm not interested in marriage, but I'm interested in building family. Like, to me, that's where it gets lost there, because the stats show that children thrive and within the structure, within that dynamic of that mother, father, that traditional marriage type of situation. And my thing, if you want to shack, do you be with a man, not be married, that's fine. But when we trying to bring babies into it, we have to think about the impact on them when we're choosing to just go in and out of these relationships, not be married, not show, not provide the proper stability for this child. Like, those things can impact a child, because that child's going to, as I say, a child, you hear that saying, do as I see, or somebody else may say, do as I say, not as I do, where a child is paying more attention to your actions and what you do than what you say. You can say whatever till you blue in the face, but if your walk is not lined up with what you're saying, people are going to pay attention more so to your walk. And that's not even just children. That's just people in general. So that's just to say, kids are not dumb. They're not stupid. They're paying attention. So we have to think about these things as we choose to procreate. We have to think about the examples that we're showing. We have to think about the examples that we saw. Were they favorable examples? Were we satisfied with those examples? And if we weren't, then we have to think of, okay, what can we do differently to start a new trend? Let's start something different. Let's move different. It's not to speak badly of those who became for you. It's just to say, you know what? I saw how you did things and you did what you felt like you needed to do. I'm just saying that ain't working for me. And I'm going to choose to try something different in hopes of a more favorable outcome. That's all. Reg Rose says, I'd rather see Black women open up their options to any man of any race that will treat them right. Black, white, or whatever. A lot of Black women are fixated on only dating Black men. Yes, I think with Black women, it's this, it's this loyalty that we have, this natural loyalty that we have to our Black men, just like other races have to their races, like the white man and the white woman, the Asian man, like you don't see them dating out like in those as high as of numbers as like say your Black man's, because it's loyalty to their race. It's something that's like a natural instinct. And I think Black women collectively have that natural instinct to be loyal to the Black man. And it's there more than the Black man has to the Black woman. It's a natural instinct. It's one that I think that many Black women don't even realize they have or can't really even speak on. All they can say is, well, I just know I just want a Black man. They can't really explain it. They can't, it's almost like you trying to explain being Black. You just are. It just falls in that category. As I said, like with Carrie Hilson had put a post out fairly, maybe like a month or two ago, talking about, listen, is it wrong for me just to want to be with a Black man? No, it's not wrong for you to want to be with a Black man. However, you have to look at the reality of what your options are out there, and do they line up to what it is that you're looking for in a Black man? That's the thing, because what you're looking for, it may not line up with a Black man. It may line up with somebody of even say another cultural group, but you have to kind of be real with that. Okay, yes, you want a Black man, but if you have these things, this checkoff list, what's most important? Him being a Black man or these things on your list being checked off? That's a real question, because sometimes you can't have it all. Sometimes those, somebody may check off all those things on your list, except they're not Black. Or you got this Black man right here, but them things you got on your list, he might got one or two, but most of them, he ain't lining up with them. So you have to wait it out and make that decision as to what's most important to you. And only you can answer that. And when you make that decision, that's what you have to live with. And you can't look for somebody else to love, be happy for, to support that decision you made, because that's your decision. Because everybody's going to have their opinion. And it's just unfortunate that people A lot of people move in this world, in these streets, feeling like, okay, the opinion that they have, they can just inflict it on you and just go around throwing it in your face. Like, no, I feel like you can have your opinion, but still respect people. Like Alfonso, like, okay, you got your white wife. I'm over here like, okay, I don't care. I'm bothered by it, but you can't be looking for me to scream from the rooftop, I support you, brother. You love. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to continue to live my life and mind my business. Reg Rose, Black women are keeping themselves at a loss if they continue to think Black men are loyal to y'all. He has shown you for decades he is not loyal, right? And then as soon as you show up with your white man, then they all in their feelings, and then you getting called bed wench and any other name that they come up with. Like, make it make sense. I just do not understand. You do it in higher numbers, but though you come down on me harder. And the one I would be curious to know, then ones that are coming down on the Black woman, what percentage of them are divesting, even though they ain't running around using that word? What percentage of them are doing just that? Just that. Like, make it make sense. How do you have an issue with me doing what you showed me how to do? What your boys showed me how to do? Like, y'all been doing this thing before. Y'all the one showed us, like, listen, you just go with where you like. If you like if you like Brad's little skin tone, his little tan, go. Y'all been doing it. The man said he liked Maria's skin tone. Like, so maybe maybe we trying to move because we like what y'all showing us how to do it. Y'all saying, listen, y'all, sis, y'all looking at the wrong things. Like, you guys are the example. But though you have the argument of, oh, why you doing that? You a bad wench. But bro, like, you're doing it in these far greater numbers than anyone else. But you got a whole problem with our women over here. What are we supposed to just sit and just wait? Just wait on you to come home? And I feel like a lot of women, unfortunately, are doing just that. They're just sitting, they're waiting, they're getting older, they're packing on the pounds, they're living more impoverished, like they're living a struggle life because they're just waiting for that savior, which to them looks like a Black man, and he's nowhere to be found. He had come through maybe if he know it's that month where you got that deposit on your food and that EBT card, or it's income tax check time, or that stimulus check didn't hit. But is that good enough for you to just be a financial support to this man? Is that good enough for you? Like, to me, like, I don't think it's ever worth like a woman living like that for the sake of, I'm holding out for my Black king, as Paris would say. Like, no, at what point do you put you first? Do you say, you know what? It's time for me to start living for me. I deserve to be loved. I'm going to love who love me. Reg Rose says, not an income tax booty call. Listen, that's a real thing. Look, they will break up with you right around Valentine's Day, but that income tax check coming right after that. So let me see, that Valentine's Day, February 14th. So yeah, y'all ain't together February. Let me see. Then we got March, because that deadline for when you need to file by April. He back by March. Because he know them deadlines. Because what is that? April 15th is that deadline. Y'all know I ain't lying. Y'all know how it go. You know how it go. Just like around them holidays, they get ghost. Y'all know. And now with these deposits that's coming in, these women who got kids, listen, these men get new shoes right now, clothes, they coming up off of these women. They are. And unfortunately, a lot of our women will accept whatever little bit that this man is coming through with, which ain't much of nothing but peen. And just for the sake of just having somebody come through, it comes down to knowing our value. When you know your value, you're worthy of more than just a roll in the sheets. Like, that. As we see, these Black men, they're going out there getting whatever it is that they want, whatever it is. Like, I'm about to get it, or I got this money. I want somebody who looking this way on my arm. Like, they're going out there exercising their options, because the Black man, he has the options to date who he wants to date, just as we do. That's the thing. But we're not made to feel as though we have the option as well, not within our cultural group. I feel like the other cultural groups, pretty much are more accepting than just, as far as when it comes to the Black women. I feel like it's more negative energy that comes from the Black man than just say, the white cultural group collectively or whatever, when the Black woman is with the white man, or at least the Black man seem to be at least more vocal about it. So it makes me feel as though they're more harsh about the whole idea of interracial dating, which is funny since they do it in like some of the highest numbers. That part, it's like the hypocrisy. It's like, what are we doing? But they don't want to speak on that part. It's just like they just want to call you these names, or if things go left in the situation where, Brad did do something to you, they want to highlight that one-off incident. I look at it because collectively more Black men do harm to Black women than a man of some other cultural group, if you really look at the numbers. But they want to focus on like that one situation where it went left in that interracial relationship. Like, oh, I told y'all, yes, y'all shouldn't be doing that. Well, let's talk about these far greater numbers where this violence on Black women is inflicted at the hands of brothers. Nobody don't want to talk about that part either. Reg Rose, I think the only time people have this perceived idea of Black male sexiness is Black women keep calling them sexy. If Black women were done with Black men, everyone else would be done too. I think, yeah, because we collectively, Black women love the Black men. We're not afraid to vocalize that. And I feel like, excuse me, it makes when Black women put the Black man on this pedestal about how sexy or whatever they are, it catches the attention of the women of the other cultural groups. They looking like, well, dang, so it does like highlight them. But that white woman or Hispanic woman getting that same Black woman that you got. So whether or not it's more favorable, collectively it shows it's really not. They divorced high, we see the Black men make them baby mamas too. So for a minute, I feel like, okay, that, that non-Black woman may get the ring and all that, but as far as when it comes to the quality part, they still, as CNG say on her channel, they're getting the same Black man. So that Black man isn't changing per se because he chose to go with that non-Black woman. I just feel like he's presenting more to her, to get her. You know how I'm saying? Like, you got to put that work in to get somebody. Like, I feel like a lot of times with Black men, they don't feel like, okay, we're worth kind of like working for, versus like the non-Black woman, where it's just like, okay, they putting little extras in it to try to get her attention, to get her, because they look at her as a prize. So, okay, well, since this person a prize, I'm gonna up my game. Whereas like with Black people Black women collectively, they don't have this mentality of, I'm gonna up my game. I'm gonna put my best foot forward. I'm gonna try to, go to work and just tell her, look, she can stay at home and take care of the kids. I'm gonna wife her up. I don't feel like they have that mindset collective when it comes to us, but when it comes to the non-Black woman, they will. But I think a lot of why they don't have that mindset when it comes to us is because collectively we will take them as is. We don't, because I feel like if Black women started having a standard and saying, hey, the only way you can bark up this tree is if you're meeting this, and this, then I feel like Black men will rise to the occasion. But if we're not requiring them to rise to the occasion, then it is what it is. As they say, you got to teach people how to treat you. And I think collectively, Black women, that's where we haven't done a good enough of job with teaching people, in particular Black men, how to treat us. And the madness continues on and on and on. Reg Rose says they get with Black men because they want to experience. Okay, they get with Black men because they want to experience what it's like to be a Black woman. It's pathetic. I mean, it's a lot of, I think, just psychological things that go into people who like choose to date interracial, more so like people who choose to just solely date interracial. I think people who do that, it's like a psychological thing when they just completely dismiss their own race and looking at something else. So it's just some deep rooted things that that person, you know, has to deal with. So when we do see people who do live like that or make decisions like that based on judging of entire cultural groups, that's not something we should wear on our sleeves. Like, that's not something we should own. That's something that we should say, you know what, that's their struggle. They got to live with that, period. Like, you can't carry that weight on you. You can't be in your feelings about it. You just got to shake your head like I did in that restaurant and keep it moving. You know, you just shake your head and keep it moving. There's so much foolery that goes on in this world where we can't react to everything. And I think women, as Black women, we're very emotional. And when it comes to a lot of the things that, in particular, when it comes to Black men, we give it too much energy. And I don't just think it deserves to have that energy. I think if we move in a manner to which we're unbothered and we're coming off as being unbothered, I think that the Black man will feel that. It's just like, well, dang, she ain't even thinking about us no more. It'll start being like this different type of conversation of, wow, like, fellas, like our Black women, we're losing. They not even like, they know, it's like they don't care anymore, you know? So, and they'll just have these round tables to try to figure out, well, what's going on? How can we get the attention of the Black woman again? Because right now they see that they can dog us out and treat us any kind of way. And guess what? We still gonna be there. We still gonna be there. Come on, Tyrone, come on in here. Like, we still want to be here because that's what our history have shown. We've seen it in previous generations and we're seeing it play out in this generation, and our babies are witnessing it. So you know what? That means that it's very likely that it's going to happen in the next generation. Because as I say, they're going off of what they see. And if they see mama getting dogged out, daddy doing the most, mama taking them back, they feel like, okay, well, this is how you maneuver in a relationship. This is what it looks like. And in far fewer numbers, you'll have those who say, which I felt it fell in that category growing up. Listen, I see all this foolishness and I ain't finna be dealing with that. I'm finna try something different. I fell in that category because please believe I grew up seeing the foolishness, that stuff. But I was conscious to say, you know what? I'm finna try something different. I'm going to move in a different way because I'm hopeful for a different outcome. And life is about choices. And I'm going to make this choice to try something that I'd never seen in my family before. I seen it up the street at my girl's house, but I ain't never seen it over here on my, in my family. And that's what I did. I took a chance. And as a result of me taking that chance, fast forward to today, my life looks very different than most of my family members, in particular, the ones that I grew up around. It looks very different, but it looks different because I went against the grain. I'm the first to say I'm not special. I just decided to do something different. I just exercise common sense. What's the word? Critical thinking. Like, I just thought, I just was moved with intent. Y'all, it was nothing deep about it. Nothing deep at all. Like, I literally just said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to try this. Let me see how this works. Like, not having a whole lot of examples, but marriage. No, I just said, oh, let me try. If I try to, say, oh, I want to get married and try to date with intent. Okay, well, now it's like, okay, well, I want to have my kids, by my husband. Like literally, it was just that, nothing special. I literally did what people collectively do in other cultural groups. That is it. So clearly, if all these other cultural groups are doing it, it ain't special. It's just that I just chose to say, okay, well, they doing something over here different that look like is winning, is more favorable for their children and the generations to come. So let me try that. That's all I did. And that's what I preach. And I tell people, expand, like get out of your circle, like look at other people doing other things, because seeing something different can open up your eyes to something. It can have you think of things that you'd never even thought of before, because it was just something you just weren't exposed to. So now maybe as an adult, you're exposed to something. You're like, yo, okay, I ain't never seen that before, but I like this. Let me try it. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's called growth, expanding your horizons, like all of that. That's how we, it's just moving with intent, putting thought into things. Like, it's just outright saying, you know what, I want to try something different. I'm ready to do something different. Just like, someone talks about weight loss. Like, okay, everybody in my family, they got this weight on them. I got this weight on me. What would it look like if I just started exercising and made some changes? Maybe I can be an example to my aunts and, my cousins and my other family members, to my grandma. Like, let me, you just got to change your mindset and not be so quick to just stay in and lie in just the cultural norms of what you were just used to seeing. And a lot of us can't even speak to why it is that we do what we do or think the way we do. It's just simply based off of just our environment or what we were exposed to. Nothing more than that. So many of us, I feel like we operate out of fear, like we're afraid to try something different. Many of us are fearful of what somebody gonna think. Like, I don't want to think like somebody think I'm better than somebody, or that I done got brand new, or like, it's not even about that. It's about creating the best life, the best outcome for you, being a positive example. Everybody not gonna look at what you did and be happy for you or think that you should have done that. And that's okay. But if what you did and a change you made you feel good and you feel happy about the example that you've been to other people around you, then there you go. We have to do things for ourselves. It can't be really about like what somebody else thinking. Like, you can't, because I feel like in our community, we do that so much, even with our boys, getting caught up in trouble, the street life, our girls, being thoughting it up, being promiscuous, having these babies, multiple baby daddies. Oh, my girl got, she like this whole baby daddy culture, like, oh, it's cute. Like, it's not. But within our culture, it gives the perception that it's cute to have the title as being a baby mama to somebody, especially if it's somebody who's a celebrity. Like, can you imagine that we live in a time where people strive to be a baby mama? Here, the latest I did a video on here. I think I did so many videos on PJ Washington and that Renner chick. They're saying now, I guess he's going back and forth with her because she's not even trying to let him see his son. Remember, I told you the black man who was talking with Sanjay, who said he had the baby with the Hispanic chick, and now he going through it because she ain't letting him see his son. You see what I'm saying? Hispanic chick then got that DNA, got her baby, got ghost. The Renner chick then got whatever she wanted, can collect her child support and got ghost. But that's the ones they want. That's the ones they want. And the sad part about it, they take that L and just chalk it up. Oh, well, that's just a one-off situation, and get back in it again and do it over again. The guy talking with Sanjay was like, well, yeah, that did happen. I admit, yeah, that was an L, but it wasn't enough of an L for him to, to go back to his sisters and say, you know what, I'm finna try something different. Like, he was just looked at that, y'all, as a one-off situation. Yo, bro, you just literally said that the chick is not trying to let you see your child, but you just like still got the Hispanic group, and the white woman on this pedestal. Oh, okay. Well, good luck with that. Like I said, y'all, he quickly hung up the phone. He didn't want to answer the tough questions. He didn't have no answers. Reg Rose says PJ got exactly what he deserves. He wanted a light bright so that his kid can have light bright features, and look how she did him. She did him dirty, but I don't feel sorry for him. And you know what? Chances are he going to end up in another situation, looking at the wrong things, getting with another woman that is going to get over on him. He ain't learned. Most of them haven't learned. Most of them don't learn. They get put through it with that the desired one, the one, the non-black or the light skin, and they continue they continue to still continue to just repeat the same antics and behavior. What they say, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting for a different outcome. Like, how do you continue to do what you do and be in your feelings about how you've been treated as a result of what you're doing, and then you still doing it? Like, make it make sense. You just put that as a one-off too, after she done took all, your money and your resources. I imagine the other man who's fighting with the Hispanic one about seeing his child, that's going to result in money that he got to pay to get a lawyer. So, bro, this is costing you, and you still stuck on, well, yeah, I did take an L. Like he admitted, yeah, you right, Sin. But it still ain't enough for me to, go and show, to go date Keisha over there. Like, it was crazy. But he meant that thing, y'all. Like, he was like, yo, I am still in the game. Maria, where you at? Reg Rose, what do you think about Drake impregnating a white porn star? I hate that Drake keeps putting his son in braids and do-rags. Like, stop trying to face it, Drake. He's white. Like, again, it's like, it's almost like I look at it to where I put in the same category of, say, the black man that like the non-black woman. But the reasons why they like that non-black woman physical aesthetic a lot of times is because they have features and characteristics of the black woman. Going back to that caller on Sin G's channel, when Sin asked him what it was he liked about, that, Maria will call her. He said, oh, well, she got some braids and I like her shape and her color. Okay. So Sin was like, so you like that she wear cornrows? You like that she's coming off looking like a whole black woman? So it's almost like I feel like they want the features, certain characteristics of the black woman, but without having the black woman. So as far as with Drake, it's like, okay, I want my son to move in black culture just as quote unquote I do, or what Drake does, but I want him to have the phenotype of the white man. I want him, so therefore he can get that light skin, that privilege of, okay, he's cute. He quote unquote cute. He quote unquote maybe got good hair, but I want him to move in these streets as though he's a black man. So therefore he can benefit from both, just as Drake. You don't think that Drake benefits from both? Drake got a whole white mama that I believe she Jewish. She remind me of, what's that actress that she looked like with the big nose? That they say, I gotta figure it out. I don't know. Is her hair red? His mama looked like this actress, this white woman that's an actress. But Drake, he gets the benefits of both. So he wants his child to have the benefits of both. So again, if he had a baby with a black woman, let's just say he had a baby with Serena, that's running a good chance that baby's phenotype was going to come out looking more black. No, we can't have that. Because baby looking black, you're not getting that special treatment. So he knew it. I would rather, this is how you can look at it. I would rather have a baby with a whole white porn star than, let's just say, a tennis superstar like Serena, just for the sake of my child having a certain phenotype. They will put the importance of the phenotype above the quality of the woman. Because you guys do know, remember when Serena and him, they were dating. He was up there, Wimbledon, in the stands rooting for and everything. That was like not long before, he got the white chick pregnant. So you see that he had access to a quality Black woman, but he chose to impregnate a whole porn star. Clearly, the phenotype superseded the quality. Like, it is what it is. How do you argue that? Reg Rose, they want an imitation Black woman. Yes. That's what I look at as Kim Kardashian. Why Kanye crying his tattooed tears for whatever, like, what you thought? What you thought you was getting, bro? Like, the whole world knew what you was getting. You was just in denial. You were too busy just focus on the fact that she was popular. Like, you was infatuated. And look what you got. Like, you put phenotype over quality and substance. You guys remember when Kanye first came out, he had a Black girlfriend. I think they had gotten together in college or something. I've seen her before. She was a pretty girl. She was brown skin, just a Black girl. I don't know where she at today. But then next thing you know, Amber Rose was this thing on his arm. And then after that went Kim Kardashian. You couldn't tell him nothing. When he got Kim, you couldn't tell him a doggone thing. He was doing it, y'all. Rapping in a song, you get put on, you leave before work. Like, you couldn't tell him nothing. He had arrived. Reg Rose, what do you think of Jodie Turner-Smith and Serena Williams coming out clarifying that their white men actually take baths? What do you think of Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis just said? Like, I was hearing about that whole bath thing. I hadn't listened to anybody's content on the exact verbiage of what they were saying. But I wasn't surprised, because just think about it, y'all. When we think about just the white culture over the years, there's been this going thing where we hear about white people not doing this, not bathing. There's been certain little things, and it could be a stereotype or not, but we would hear where people, and a lot of white Black women, be like, I ain't trying to be with no white man. They smell like this. Like, we've heard all these things. So fast forward to today, and to be hearing them talk about not taking baths, it just took me back to just as a kid when I would hear people just make comments about white people not wanting to bathe or them smelling like puppies, all that stuff. So it's just like, well, dang, y'all coming out talking about not bathing. And then the fact that Jodie and Serena had to come out and say, yo, my man take baths. Like, I guess they felt like they had to do what they had to do, because they like, listen, like anything, you can't put a blanket on people as a whole. And I agree with that. So if Ashton saying he ain't bathing, his wife saying he ain't bathing, I don't feel like it's fair to kind of put that on the whole cultural group. So that's what, like I said, when I was a kid, I would hear those type of things. Fast forward as an adult, where I have my mind and I can think for myself. When I think of white people, I don't think of that, white people not bathing. Because, I've had friends over the years with white people, and I know that they bathe, they don't move like that. Some of them have, they move very similar to how we do when they, as far as feeling about certain things about us, as far as how particular we are. They'd be like, I ain't that, not this white, so we can't just put everybody just in a bucket. Again, we have to judge people by their character, how they move individually, not just their skin tone. Like, I still kind of believe in that. But I don't blame Jodie and Serena coming out and saying, listen, my white man over here ain't doing all that. But what I would like to see, while they defending their white man, I want to be able, I want them, as time go on, their men to defend them. And when things are said about them, I've heard Serena's husband, defend her. Jody husband, I mean, I remember when he went on the show and talked about how she proposed to him and she started getting dragged. And I think he had came out and tried to clean up the comment he said or whatever, or say some people misinterpreted. No, I mean, there was nothing to misinterpret. You outright said your woman proposed to you, point blank, period. So I think that was kind of his way with trying to come out to, try to help her out, because people were dragging her for proposing to her whole white man. But I just would want to see it go both ways. With as the ladies defend their men, I would want to see their men defend them, because that's just what you do, regardless of the, your cultural group or who you're married to. You defend one another. So I'm not mad at those ladies coming out defending, their men. But Ashton and Mila, like, I don't know. Like I said, I would have to kind of research that one to see exactly what they said. But if that's how they're moving, that's how they're moving. I'm not going to lump them with, okay, white people over here not taking baths. Those particular white people not taking baths. Okay, well, yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. That's kind of like, my thoughts on that. And I'm curious to know, how have they responded to people comments in regards to them putting out there this whole not taking a bath thing. Like, like, what are their thoughts on that? Or did they even bother to come out and have an opinion on, like, people having an opinion about what they put out there? But that's the thing, when you put stuff out there about yourself, you're going to open yourself up. So what I can say is I don't see how they can be in their feelings about whatever people had to say, because we wouldn't even known this if you didn't put this out there. That part, like, it's kind of up there with the reality stars. You ever see Kmart get mad and they want you to mind your business, but they done put the business out there and you comment on it. It's just like you got a whole series, a whole reality show about your life. Minding business like that shouldn't even be a part of your vocabulary. You got your life on Front Street. You're moving as though privacy is just not even something you subscribe to. I mean, to me, when you choose to go on not necessarily social media, but like a reality show, privacy is just like, when you put your life out there, like, privacy is just something where you're like, okay, what's privacy? Like, so to want to come back and be like, want to exercise privacy and don't want people to say something like that, always has confused me. And a lot of people, like, they do that. I think I more so see women do it. Black women in particular, where they'll kind of be on that tip about privacy. And it's just like, okay, okay, sis, all right. But I don't watch any of those reality shows. I mean, I think half of it is scripted anyway. So no, I don't really go, y'all can have that. Yeah, it's collectively, I don't really see, like, even with our Housewives of Atlanta or the Black ones, like, I don't look at it as a good representation of Black women. Like, I don't like to see depictions like Black women fighting on TV, and that's, for views. Like collectively, do we see other cultural groups that have shows out there that's depicting their people in a negative light on the level that our shows do for views? Like, you might see it, but I don't see it on the same magnitude as it is with our, like, within our cultural group. And it's just like, we have to be kind of like the minstrel show. Like, we got to be everybody's entertainment. And it's just like, why we got to be the butt of the joke for everything? I feel like we got to be the butt of the joke for everything. So collectively, like, I feel like other cultural groups, they are laughing at us. They're not necessarily laughing with us. I feel like they are laughing at us. And it just shows with just how we're just treated when we go. We see all these cases where women are, Black women mistreated in the nail salon, in the beauty supply. in various establishments. To me, I just think that other groups don't, as a collective, don't really look at the Black culture, the Black Americans, and find us to be a respectable group of people. Like, look at the image that's out there of us on the television, on the internet, in the music videos. Like, what's the percentage of those images being positive versus negative? To me, I feel like most of the images are negative. Most people I know nowadays don't even really watch TV. They're just on the internet. And we all see the doggone crap that's on the internet. The Shade Room gonna point all that out to you if you did miss it. They're like, don't worry, we got you. we got you over here, because they capturing all of it. So it's actually probably even worse than what you may know of, because you not even following those platforms or shows or whatever that's showing it. But it's pretty bad. I don't follow any of those platforms or things that show it. But every now and then something is sent to me in my DM or something with some foolishness for me to take a look at. And it's just, all you can do is just shake your head. That's all you can do. Like, again, my platform is just about just coming to you, bringing to you what's going on in the streets, in the YouTube streets, and the celebrity streets, giving my opinion on it and speaking a positive light into the situation, coming with some solutions. Like, I'm a solution oriented person. I'm not one that like to hear about the problems, but not want to talk about how we can do better. Like, I've never been that person. And I honestly have limited conversations or very short conversations with people who are like that, because I'm like, I don't want to hear your cries if you're not coming to me with and wanting to have a discussion about how we can do better. This isn't a channel for bashing. It's about presenting and just talking about like how we can do better, like moving differently, moving with intent, learning from our situations, aligning ourselves with people who are maybe doing things that we may strive to want to do, expanding our circle. Even if we do expand our circle and it goes into other cultural groups, I feel like there's things that we all can learn from one another across cultural groups. I recently was on, what is his name? Anton David. I think his last name's Davis. Anton, he interviewed this Asian man. When that man spoke, I was literally sitting on the edge of my seat listening to everything he talked about as far as his story leading up to him being, I think he's an anesthesiologist. Like, it was such a powerful story to where nothing about his life came from privilege. It was straight struggle. More struggle than any of the Black people I know here in America. Like, it was a whole deep, let me see. Because I would like for you guys to check that out. Let me try to figure out if I can figure out what video that was on. So you guys can check it out. But he had a real Anton Daniels. What did I say? His last name was Davis. His name is Anton Daniels. His YouTube channel is called After Hours with Anton Daniels. And he did an interview with this Asian man. I think he met the Asian man because the Asian man called onto the Lapeef Let's Talk podcast. Anton is on there every Thursday with a few other people. It's pretty good. You guys should check that out as well. But I was listening to on his channel After Hours with Anton Davis, and the Asian guy called in and he told, I think he had already shared his story with Anton, but Anton let him have the floor and talk about, his life and how he became an anesthesiology, his struggle, like, just, it's very deep. I can't, he has a lot of content on his channel, so I can't right now figure out exactly which video it was. I know it was fairly recently. I caught the live where they were talking. So go to his channel and just look at his videos, and just, check the brother out. He has some good content, but he preaches accountability. Anton is big on accountability. Some might think he's arrogant. I feel like he is, but at the same time, two things can be right at the same time. I think he is arrogant. However, Anton, he walks what he talks. So he walk it like he talk it. Like whatever he's saying, what he's spewing out, like getting money, all that, like that is how he's moving in his life. And I can respect that. But, he going to remind you, listen, that he a millionaire and he got this, that, and show you his Rolexes, his watches, Apple Watch, his cars. Like he going to go into, he going to show you all of that. So, it's a lot that come with Anton, but there's definitely a lot to learn from him. So check out his content. And you might, come across that interview. Right now, I just can't think of, and if I later come across that interview, I'll definitely kind of, put it somewhere in the comments or somewhere, to let you guys know. But it's just about, not making excuses. It's just about pulling up our bootstraps and just getting in the game and putting in that work. We spend a lot of time talking about our problems, the issues we have, our personal issues, the issues collectively in the community. But I don't feel like we put enough energy in putting in the work to make a change. And to make a change, it is work. It is work. Like somebody can't make the change for you. You have to make the change. And it's going to start in your mind before it can even take action and come to life. It has to start in your mind. We have to change our mindsets. Anton Daniels speaks a lot about that. So definitely please check him out. There is a lot to be learned from him. He's one of those guys, you can take it or leave him. I think he's a take it type person because like I say, he got high energy. Like he he's very confident. But he ain't telling no lies either. That's the thing. You can't argue with, when he coming with you as far as when he talk about our community, he keep it raw. He let it be known like, listen, we need to work. He's the first person I heard that say the Black culture is trash. I did a video on that. Anton said Black culture is trash. And when he said that, I'm like, huh? Everyone, when he said it on the Peace Talk, let's talk. Everybody kind of like, it's like they stopped breathing. Like, oh my God, did he just say that? But since then, when I've, done my research and, because sometimes people can say things and you just initially feel a way because you're in your feelings. But when you take a step back and really assess something, you start to kind of feel like less emotional or sensitive about it. And it's just like, what, if I apply logic and gain an understanding of what he means by that, that's what I had to do. I had to kind of learn, get the context. And basically, he means today, people feel like today the culture is trash, not, our past, our forefathers, the people came before us. It's like where we are today. It's not where we were pre 1965, Today is so different, but not in a favorable way, I feel like, for our community. We got people that's getting money, but as far as our households, they're so broken. So we can't look at Black culture as a success for those few people, that small percentage, that 1 or 2%, less than 5% that are millionaires. We have to look at the other 97% of Black Americans. Like you gotta look at the biggest piece of the pie and kind of make your assessment from that, not the minority. So when we look at the majority opposed to the majority shows that we need work. We have work to do in our community. We have work. I come onto this channel to talk about the work that we have and talk about how we can get to it. Again, I ask, please like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, share the live. I can only hope that this message and I can just benefit just one person. hit the bell, the notification bell. I know some people have said, hey, when I go live, when I go live, like they don't get the notification, all of that. Sometimes I schedule pre-record. So I have no control over that. Just know lately, I'm just about doing something daily, if not every other day. And sometimes, I'm hitting you with at least sometimes two videos a day. It just depends on what I got to say, what's going on. If it's something where I feel like, I got to get out here and talk to the people, or if I feel like, no, it can wait. But this was a topic where I said, I got to get on tonight and talk about this because it's a real thing. It's real. Whether we like it or not, people are going to continue to swirl. People are going to continue to divest. Colorism is going to continue to be a real thing. And our brothers are going to continue to be having their pockets ran through by racially ambiguous women, non-Black women, the more favorable women, all of that. Like all of this stuff is just going to continue to happen because there is no signs of that changing anytime soon, because collectively we are not doing the work. We're not banding together. So thank you for joining me. We're at the 2-hour mark. Thank you for choosing to be here with me. You could have been, any place else, watching your shows, listening to another channel, but you were here with me taking in all of this. I thank you too for those who participated in the comments, dropping comments, liking the video. Just continue to spread the word. Until next time, peace.